The following is a production of DallasCowboys.com and the Dallas Cowboys Football Club.
How about them Cowboys?
Blowing out of the backfield, exploding down the sideline.
This is Hangin' with the Boys, presented by Wingstop, where flavor gets its wings. Now, your hosts, Nate Newton, Kurt Daniels, Jesse Holley, and Shannon Gross.
Welcome to the show Thursday, live from the SWBC Mortgage living room in Frisco, Texas. Shannon Gross, Jesse Holley, Kurt Daniels. We are Nateless today. Nate Newton having some difficulties, so Chef Jesse is back in the building. We'll be cooking it up today.
Let just cook.
Oh, man.
Let just cook.
We got Nate is having technical difficulties, so he will not be joining us. Chris is having technical difficulties too, because I'm hearing all kinds of echo. We'll get that under control. There we go. There we go. Now we're in business. All right. Man, where do we start today? Today is Thursday, and hopefully by next week I will get this poster hung on the wall behind me, so I don't have to keep rolling it up in front of you guys. I know. I'm gonna get it. I'm gonna get it fixed eventually. I'm going to get it fixed eventually. All right, let's talk. You know what? Let's start with Sean.
Let's start with good news. Let's start with good news. Let's do good news. Let's do good news.
You know what's good news?
Former Dallas Cowboy Des Bryant.
Yes, the Ravens.
Supposedly signing this morning with the Ravens.
I saw that.
Is back to their practice squad. So, all of his workouts have paid off, and they flew him in this morning. And so if everything passed with the physical and all the COVID stuff and the workout works all well, Des will be a Baltimore Raven. He'll be on their practice squad, but the new rules with the practice squad, you can bring guys up and down. So Des will be hopefully on a team by the end of business day. So shout out to Des Bryant and his team for getting him back on the field. He hasn't played in an NFL game since December 2017.
Yeah, it's been a while.
Jeez. Mm-hmm. Do you expect him, Jesse, being a wide receiver and being out of the game that long, do you expect him to have any kind of impact this season, or is that kind of a setup move for next season?
No, I think this is a setup move for late season playoff. I think with this team, you look at what the Ravens do, to add that kind of dimension in the red zone will do wonders for what they want to do with Lamar Jackson, especially those tight ends. So giving a guy like that the red zone opportunities, you got to respect that fade ball. You got to respect that. So I think this is more for a late season playoff type push and adding that extra animal in the red zone that they have to now account for.
I'm surprised he didn't sign somewhere sooner, given that way the practice squad works this year with being able to add veterans and bring them up and down, that sort of thing. It's good to see him. Good to see him back in the league.
Yeah,
I'm happy for it, man. I am too.
I am as well.
He's a guy that's, even though he's been out of the league, he's stayed engaged. He watches the games on the weekends. He's still got a lot of guys that he played with on this team that he keeps up with and talks about on Twitter every Cowboys game Sunday. So you like to see people that are as passionate as he is. Sometimes too passionate, some would argue, but you can tell he actually loves the game and loves being around the guys, and I love seeing something like that where he's not done yet. So I think that'll be a really cool thing. Another guy that's another good news, Randy Gregory. We didn't talk about this yesterday, but eligible to play on Sunday. Do we think there's a chance in hell that he sees the field, or has he got 3 or 4 weeks to get conditioned and all that stuff before he? I mean, we could use the help, but Jesse, as a player, would he be ready to play Sunday, or has he got 2 or 3 or 4 weeks left before he can get there?
So now, correct me if I'm wrong, Kurt, Shannon. When they reinstated him, he still had the ability to be at the facility, correct? He didn't have to stay away from the facility.
Right.
And
he's been working out for.
He's been working out, right?
So,
yeah. So I mean, as far as shape, now working out, has he been working out and has he been practicing, or this is his first week actually practicing?
No, I think he's been able to practice too.
Right.
So, yeah.
I believe the same thing. So if he's been practicing and he's been here, I mean, he's been here for 6 weeks. So, giving those guys a look on this practice squad, scout team type stuff. Hell, what do we have to lose at this point?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? At this point in time, we're looking for anything that's going to give us a spark, any live body that's going to give us some action, anybody that we can give an assignment to and they can actually execute it. Yeah. So if he doesn't play, I'm like, well, why didn't he play? Like, because you need the bodies. Yeah. You need the bodies. You fresh body, active body. And this is a game where you can't lose to the football team of Washington. You can't. So I want to get guys after their offensive line is not that good. I want to get guys, Randy, Everson, DeMarcus, Alden. I know he had the neck stinger, kind of this week. But I want to get guys after this quarterback. I want Kyle Allen to feel the pressure. I want Kyle Allen to be touched. I want Kyle Allen to be I want him to feel the pressure. I want him to feel the heat. So if that means putting in Randy Gregory for 20, 25 snaps, I'm with it.
I think it'll be interesting to see who they bench.
Yeah,
in favor of him. Because, are they going to sit one of the young guys? I think we're all kind of at the point we'd like to see these young guys get a chance. Bradley Anae and some of the guys in the middle. Hamilton had a good game, relatively speaking, last week. Gallimore. But, do you sit a Griffin or a Poe or a Crawford? I mean, it's going to be interesting.
I mean, you can sit Poe. I mean, he'll be doing the exact same thing he's doing on the bench that he's actually doing in the game. So you won't miss. You'll probably gain something by him not being on the field because all he's doing is taking up not even good space. He's just there and he's pulling up grass with his cleats.
That's what I hope they do. I hope they let these young guys play now.
Remember, Alden Smith popped up on the injury report this week with a neck. Yeah, yesterday. Yeah. So
that's what. Yeah,
this is the week for him to be sitting down.
Well, he practiced. He'll practice a little bit yesterday. Practice more today. So they'll still see and maybe they don't have to take anybody off if you're down Zach Martin this game, with his such concussion and stuff like that. So I don't know. If he's available to go, then I think he should be up.
But remember, you have to bring in 8 offensive linemen to per.
Do we even have?
Well, yeah, but if you the new rule is if you bring 8 offensive linemen, you can bring the 2 off the practice squad and they can play. Does that make sense? If you don't suit up 8, you can't have those extra 2 guys, and you're always going to want those extra 2 guys. Obviously,
I got you. Okay.
So it doesn't matter if the guy's hurt; he's going to have pads and shoulder pads and a helmet on.
Gotcha.
Another guy that Sean Lee spoke yesterday. Kurt, do you have any idea what that's all about? Is he getting ready to play? Was that just kind of checking in, him saying, "Hey, I'm still here"?
Yeah, I think like Jesse kind of. I can't remember if he said it in a tweet or a text, but I think it's just a veteran trying to calm down the room a little bit. And I don't know, Jesse. You tell us. Was he doing? To me, he's probably doing that more for the media and fans than he is for the team itself. But I don't know. Will that resonate any with the players?
No, that's strictly media driven stuff. Let me send a veteran guy who people respect, whose word is respected across the league, to the fan base, and let Captain Sean Lee calm the rocky waters. And what he said was what you wanted a guy like Sean Lee to say. Say, listen, we don't really we don't really listen to anonymous sources. Can you really trust anonymous sources? Is it even the real? Can it be somebody that was in the locker room? Maybe it wasn't. So they sent the one guy who people know and respect to go out to face the media, to say the right things. Because we all speculated on who it was or who it may be. And so you don't want to put those guys in front of the camera to get berated with those questions. But for me, I think Sean Lee was the perfect person to put out there. And this is a guy who's not even like and this is how you look at it. What was the purpose of Sean Lee even speaking? Like, why was Sean Lee speaking? He's not playing this weekend. He's not a part of the game plan. He hasn't done anything significant all season long, so there was no need for Sean Lee to be in front of the camera. But great job by Rich Dalrymple for getting the right people to go in front of the camera, to say the right things, to send that message out to the masses, to kind of calm the waters a little bit. It's still a little bit rocky, but Captain Lee came out and just gave a statement to kind of calm the waters.
And that's weird to me because PR doesn't usually do things like that. Usually they're more of a hands-off approach and just our PR staff doesn't do a lot of, I guess, kind of spinning in situations like that when it comes to the football stuff. So you think that was a PR move, or do you think that was Sean Lee saying, hey, I need to get control of this and get this? Was that was it player driven, or was it PR driven, or was it coaching driven? What do you think that was PR driven, Jesse?
I think it was calculated. I don't think it was just a random occurrence where Sean Lee wanted to come out and say something. I think it was a calculated, and I just say Rich Dalrymple. I don't know if it was actually Rich Dalrymple. So Rich, please don't text or call me and fuss me out. But it just felt calculated. It felt like this was the statement we should put out. This was not necessarily a statement, but this is the player who we should have speak on this matter right now. And this guy, like I said, what has Sean Lee done that we want to even hear from him at this point in time? And I don't mean that in an angry way or facetious way. I'm just saying, what is Sean Lee doing that we need to hear from him? You know what I'm saying? Right. Like he's not the quarterback, he's not the star running back. Like he doesn't fit any of those categories of a guy that we want to hear from right now. He's not announcing that he's coming back this week, right? Nothing about Sean Lee speaking in that particular moment about that particular topic at that particular time. To me, it seems that this was orchestrated by someone, whoever it may be. It just didn't seem like, oh, yeah, today's Tuesday. What's today? Thursday. Today's Wednesday, so let's get Sean Lee in front of the camera. For what? We haven't heard from Sean Lee in 5 weeks. We haven't heard one thing from Sean Lee.
Yeah. And that's why at this point, I mean, if he was playing, maybe the players he might be able to step up in the room and say something. But right now, he's just, like you said, it's kind of moved on and left to this. Injured guys are just sort of forgotten in some ways.
Maybe Coach called Rich and told him to fix this ish.
Yeah. And that's another thing that I've been thinking about with Coach McCarthy is and I know the coach has been in this league for a very long time, but even as a player, like my first team with Cincinnati, and then I came to the Cowboys, and it was like, whoa, when it comes to the media coverage and how things grow and blow up with this particular team. And it was shocking to me. And then I went on to New England, and it was a completely different vibe when it came to media and publicity and things of that nature. And I was thinking yesterday, and I wasn't on the throne, but I was just thinking.
Thanks for throwing that in there.
For Coach McCarthy is like, you spent a lot of time in Green Bay, and that's not a very big media-driven market, small town, small kind of really, intimate setting that you have there in Green Bay. But when you came here, did you think that you would be having to deal with this much media criticism and having to answer questions and be on multiple radio shows, and every time you look up, you're the lead at, on all the 3-letter, 4-letter networks, and you know what I'm saying, on the internet, that's something that I don't think many players or many coaches realize until you're actually sitting in the seat with the star on your helmet or on your chest, because this has to be something completely different than what he's been used to.
Yeah. We talked Bay for sure.
Yeah, we talked about that last night on Cowboys Crosstalk. We had Dat Wynn was on the show with us, and from the Fan we had Mike Fisher was on, and then I hosted, and then Nate was on with us. And that's one thing we talked about on the show is if that comment gets made in Jacksonville, I mean that probably doesn't even make local sports page or local sports news. A practice squad guy for the Cowboys says that, and all of a sudden it's on it's on national news and it's a 2-day story, not just one news cycle. We're still talking about it. So, that's just the power of the Dallas Cowboys is they're always going to be a story. They're always going to be in the news. And hey, ownership likes that. Ownership loves to be, they love for the Cowboys name to be talked about. So, I mean, that's something that's,
any news is good news, right?
Any news is good news. I mean, being top of mind and being in the conversation is a good thing around here. So that's, Jesse, talk a little bit about that. You've been to a couple of different stops, Cincinnati, New England. We've talked about it on the show before, but just does that as a player, does that affect your mentality or the way you do your business when you come here and the light is so bright? And I know obviously after football there's opportunities. During the season there's opportunities for shows and things like that. But does it affect you, I guess, kind of your persona or your personality or the way you go about your business off the field whenever you're exposed to the brand and the star?
We talked about this a little bit last year and you guys had Mike Fisher on your show last night. I guess he kind of like coined this phrase was, 53 brands. And with that is that, even when I first came to the Cowboys, my first year at the Cowboys, I did the entire year on the practice squad. Now I'm coming off a show, and that offseason I made about $35,000 to $45,000 in autograph signings. I didn't play one down.
Wow.
Like, think about that for a second. My first year here, 2009, after coming from the show, I was on the practice squad the entire year. I did not play one down. And I'm not exaggerating. It was a smooth $30,000 to $45,000 that I made that offseason from autograph signings and appearances.
Now, you were a reality TV star. So
I get it, but I didn't play one down. Like, I didn't play one snap. I didn't play one snap at all. And the request was still there. The people still wanted to be and to meet and to have. It was easy. It was easy money, but that just gives you a small example of what Dallas is. Everybody has shows, and then when I went to New England, it was nothing like that. And I remember a conversation that Bill Belichick had,
and
we always bring this up. We always do the comparison of what the Patriots do, and I do this because to me they're the gold standard, right? They're the Rolex of the National Football League. They're the Mercedes-Benz, right? Everything is compared to the best. And I remember sitting in a meeting and kind of almost just like housekeeping stuff. And Bill Belichick said, he goes, listen, once September comes, you belong to me. I don't want to see mall appearances. I don't want to see club appearances. I don't want to see autograph signings. From September to February, you belong to me. Anything that is not approved by me, you will pay the punishment for it. So, like, if you're going to do commercials and all that kind of stuff, and the prime example was, look at Gronk. Gronk did all his wild and crazy stuff when? In the offseason.
Offseason, yeah.
During the season, you never heard from Gronk. You never saw Gronk. Why is that? That was the Bill Belichick effect. And it was, come September, this is nothing but football. I don't want to hear about commercials. I don't want to hear about appearances. I don't want to. Why have we've never seen or heard anything when the New England Patriots go on a bye week about anyone going anywhere, doing nothing? Never. If the only person who did a weekly radio show was Tom Brady when he did, what he had the national one that he would do then. But again, if it wasn't approved by Bill Belichick, so there wasn't the middle of the mall autograph signings, there wasn't the club appearances, and in that city, Bill was so connected that stuff would get back to him, and what you didn't want was stuff to get back to him because he didn't care who you were going to pay the penalty for it.
Was the media pressure though? I would think Boston media would be as intense as it is down here, but maybe I'm wrong. But it's still, that's the culture that Bill Belichick created. Like I don't care what the media pressure says. Here's what we're going to do.
If you're not going to be 100% committed to what we're doing here in the building, and then your family, then this is not a team for you, And it didn't matter who it was. Antonio Brown, he got rid of Antonio Brown in 11 days. He was like, yeah, you got a great talent, but I told you, just stay off the internet and don't talk about so-and-so and so-and-so. You did otherwise, you got to go. And that's the difference where here it's 53 brands. Everybody has their own thing to do. Everybody has their own brand. Everybody has their own thing that they're trying to promote and sell. And I get it. I understand it. Shoot, while you hot, monetize it, do what you got to do. But it's just a different place that you just don't know. I mean, in Cincinnati, nobody wanted to hear anything from out of Cincinnati. Nobody wanted to hear that.
All right, let's take our first break, fellas. When we come back, let's talk about this game in Washington against that football team that has not yet been named. Maybe the last segment we'll play a little fun question roulette with Chris Beam. Maybe we'll get him involved in the show since we only have 3 boxes on the show. Maybe we'll drag him in here and let him participate. I don't know. We'll see what happens. Join us for the next segment and find out on Hangin' with the Boys.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's that time again for Tailgating with the OtterBox Boys.
OtterBox, the company that builds wildly overprotective phone cases?
The one and only. But cases are just the start. OtterBox is the official outfitter of tailgating.
If they can keep my phone safe, what can they do for my parking lot party?
How about protecting your beverages from suboptimal drinking temperatures with their elevation tumblers? And OtterBox elevation tumblers come in 3 sizes, a 10-ouncer, a 20-ouncer, and even a 64-ounce growler.
Check out all the colors and sizes of their elevation tumblers at otterbox.com.
It's football season, and when you're tailgating with your friends and your family, you want the best meat on your grill. Pettigene Meats makes the best hot dogs, the Pettigene Griller, or the all-beef Franks will score. To complete that tailgate meal, Pettigene Meats has hickory smoked sausage, hot links, Polish sausage, and the best hickory smoked bacon and ham around. Available at your local retailer. And a proud sponsor of the Dallas Cowboys. It's Pettigene Meats. Taste the difference.
We can't wait to see the Cowboys back on the field, and we can't wait to pack AT&T Stadium to watch them play. When that time comes, SeatGeek is the place to get all of your tickets. Plus, tickets to the hundreds of games, concerts, rodeos, and other live events we'll all be able to enjoy again soon. Every SeatGeek purchase is protected by a buyer guarantee, which means you'll get your money back if your event is canceled. Guaranteed. SeatGeek. Let's go.
Hey, Cowboys fans, ready to spice up your next watch party? Bring Yo Quiero guacamole and be the game day hero. Yo Quiero means I want, and we know you want great, fresh-tasting, ready-to-serve guacamole for your home gating and tailgating events. Made with real avocados and the perfect blend of spices, it will be the star of any party. You can find us at your local Albertsons or Tom Thumb in the deli section. If you can't find it, talk to your store manager and tell them, Yo quiero guacamole.
How great would it be to travel to watch the Cowboys win on another team's turf? Pretty great. But honestly, just watching the game from anywhere but your house would be fun. Even a hotel bar with some guy named Phil from St. Louis who thinks Oakland still has a team. So whether you're traveling to the game or watching from your favorite vacation spot, book a place to stay on Hotels.com, proud partner of the Dallas Cowboys.
Back to Hangin' with the Boys.
Welcome back to SWBC Mortgage Living Room, Frisco, Texas. Adjust your cleats, adjust your pads, even adjust your helmet. But seriously, don't adjust your underwear because once it's seen, it cannot be unseen. Tommy John's fabric keeps you cool and dry on the field or in the stands. And now they even have loungewear. Yeah, man, loungewear. Shop your underwear at TommyJohn.com/Cowboys for 15% off your first order. TommyJohn.com/Cowboys. Kurt, I need to give you these reads. I miss you reading the underwear reads.
No, you do so good at it.
Now that they're back, I miss hearing you talk about wedgies and junk and things like that.
You are the only one who misses that. Nobody else wants to hear that.
Oh man! All right, so these two teams, the Cowboys and the Washington football team, have a lot of similarities, but on opposite sides of the ball. So Washington's offensive line is ranked 28th in run block by Football Outsiders. Thanks for that info, Kurt. And they have the worst running game in the NFL. You know, the Cowboys arguably have one of the best passing games in the NFL up until this past week, but their defense is terrible. So, I mean, is this a team, Jesse, do you think the Cowboys can finally stop a team by just sheer a team that's worse than they are on the other side of the ball for the defense? Do you think this is the week this could fix everything that ails us, or is it going to be the other way around where we fix everything that ails us?
We gave the Giants 34 points. like that's the part that still lingers in my mind, is that we gave the awful New York Giants 34 points.
Yeah, they're not.
Now you can
better.
say you can say, hey, let's take 7 off of the pick 6. We gave the Giants 28 points. Okay, like the Giants.
You gave them more than they've been averaging every game in the first quarter.
Right.
And their offensive line's worse.
And so, like, that's a thought that kind of sits in the back of my mind. And then I start to think about, I believe Ron Rivera is a decent head coach, is a good football head coach. And he's going to try to get things fixed as best he can. That's why he went to the move with Kyle Allen. I got to be totally honest with you. I have to be totally honest with you. I don't see me picking the Cowboys to win another football game, like, for a while. And that's a bad place to be. But I just, like, I try to find ways to say, okay, where could this team win a football game at? Like, where can this team have a distinct advantage where I'm comfortable enough with going again saying, oh, yeah, we're going to dominate that area of the game. I don't see it defensively. We're now talking about now being to our third string worth of backups offensively on the offensive line. And I know that Zeke is working through his things, but I do think this is going to bother him mentally. Like, you're going to see a different type of runner in Zeke for a little while. And then I think about the one advantage that we may have is in our receivers. But then I say, well, how will he get him the ball, right? Will he hold the ball too long? And then I think to myself, what can we do at anywhere across the board to give ourselves a significant advantage? And I struggle finding it because we're just so deficient in so many different areas across the board. And it makes it tough to even evaluate a team like this. It makes it tough to even say, where are we going to hang our hat at? Because nobody knows. They don't know what we thought the identity of this team was running the football, and we can't do that, right? I think Zeke's averaging like less than 75 yards a game. What? Right? We think, hey, it was passing the ball. Well, Dak, who still leads the league in passing yardage, even though he didn't play last week, well, can Andy Dalton get the ball to the weapons that they need to get to, because we can't block up the defensive front long enough for anything to do past 5 to 8 yards. So it's going to be a tough game to watch, and it's a tough game to evaluate and try to predict what's going to happen positive for this football team.
Yeah, I don't see how. Like, I think the most of the the Washington's ground game is up the middle. I mean, they just want to pound it through there, and that's our maybe weakest spot is our defensive line middle. So, if I'm Washington, I just do the same thing everybody else has been doing, just hammer it in there and prove you can stop it. And I don't know. I'm kind of unfortunately falling in line with Jesse in that it's going to be hard to pick them to win until you see some kind of life out of this team.
I know.
So bring it back around, Shannon. Give us something positive here. How are they going to beat this team?
I mean, the way you beat this team, I think it's simple this week. To be honest with you, I think you got two bad football teams that are struggling, that don't really – I mean, you've got an identity, but it's kind of a vague identity, because I think the Cowboys' identity is the offense. Nothing you're doing specifically right now is the identity of the offense. I think Washington, the identity of that team is obviously the defense, but nothing really specific. Their front seven is, I guess, the identity there. You got two teams that are struggling. I think whoever wins the turnover battle, because if you fix the turnover battle on the Cowboys side, like you probably win one or two more games, and the two games that you won aren't even in question. You beat those teams. So I think as bad as these teams are, whoever wins, if you wind up at the end of this game in the positive on the turnover battle, I think you win this game. So hang on to the ball. Now, that's if you can keep Andy Dalton upright. If they come up with a little bit of a scheme to get the ball out quicker, because if
that's my dilemma. I look at it and say, okay, let's take our two head coaches and let's look at them as being like two assassins, two like top level assassins, right? You got Mike McCarthy, who is an offensive assassin, and then you got Ron Rivera, who's in a defensive assassin, right?
Riverboat Ron, I love him.
and so my thing with that is if Mike's weapon of choice is going to be offensive, and Riverboat Ron's weapon of choice is going to be defensive,
Ron wins.
Which one of these two has the best equipped combat gun to finish the job? And when you look at it, with what they have defensively in Washington up front, with all those guys in the front seven and Holcomb and other guys at their linebacker, they are better equipped and more healthy to win at what their coach is good at, opposed to what we have and what our coach is good at. If you told me I had Dak, then I'm like, let's go.
Right.
I will figure it out. But now that we have Andy, we have the backup to the backup to the backup playing, and our strength is offense, we don't have enough of the bullets to do it offensively, opposed to what they do well, and they have their bullets there. So like that's the part when I look at it and I go, okay, yes, we're both deficient on each side of the ball, but if it came down to having to hang your hat on one thing, the football team of Washington, with that front line, that front defensive line, that front seven, they are more equipped to go into battle and win with that, with their style and their head coach, than we are with ours and what we have available.
Yeah, and Kurt, to answer your question, the one thing I think that gives me a little bit of hope, not a lot, but kind of reinforced it last night talking to Dat Wynn, was, he thinks that this defense is going to progressively get better. He thinks some of the issues of what you're hearing, the communication, and then people saying the coaches, don't know how to coach, that's a byproduct of them changing the system, changing the scheme, and not being able to spend that time together at the beginning of the year. He thinks that's going to work itself out as you go. Now, will it be too late by the time it starts clicking? Is that this game? Is it the next game? Is it 4 games from now? Is it the last couple of games of the season? I guess that's going to be the $1 million question. But, and that's another thing we brought up on the show last night. Didn't this coaching staff tell us at the beginning of the season that they weren't changing the scheme, that they may throw some different looks in there, but they were still going to run basically the same scheme? And hasn't the scheme changed from what they were running last year on the defensive front?
I know that they, McCarthy, in fact, I think he said it yesterday, that they originally tried to add more to what was done last year. They felt like, it was just too vanilla, the defense, which it was. But then in week 2, they had to dial it back down and make it and simplify it because, of the confusion. They didn't have time to work on it in the offseason and stuff. So, yeah, I think you're right, Shannon, and hopefully that's the case, is that as they get more time with these coaches, with this system, they'll get better. I mean, they have to, right? They can't get worse in the more time they spend in it. So
yeah, they
hopefully
can.
We'll see.
They can. But they actually can get worse. Like you can.
Uh-oh.
We're on a historically bad pace as we talk about this defense right now. They can get worse. And it doesn't help when you have like the conversations coming out of the locker room about anonymous sources saying, this, that, and the third about coaching and not coaching and teaching and not teaching and so on and so forth. So and the part where it hurts you at is that you come into this game and you're all riled and ready to go, and then when a running back guts you up the middle for a 45-yard gain, you know what happens? Guys start looking around at one another and saying, "Oh, here we go again," and you lose the fight, and the fight's knocked out of you, and the dog's knocked out of you. And so, yeah, things can actually get worse, Kurt. It can
not
actually
what I want to
get
hear.
worse. But the thing is, it only gets worse if players allow it to get worse. Like, that's when the leadership comes in. Like, that's the part that I want the players to be better, in the sense of not just on the field playing better. I just want them to be better as far as leadership. I want them to be better as far as, doing everything that you can. Like, don't just, I said it yesterday, don't just come with the problem. Like, come with the problem and ways to work through the solution. Because you can't just come and say, that doesn't work, or this ain't it, and have nothing else to show us. You know what I'm saying? Like, you just can't do that, because generally a person's going to continue on with their plan because they're saying, well, what solution do you have? You got to have some solutions, man. And when I look at some of this stuff and you watch the film, you're saying, okay, you're telling me our scheme doesn't work, but here it is, you simply aren't getting off a block.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It's like,
you can fix the effort. I mean, that's something you can control, is your effort.
It's like, hey, if you got off the block, you actually would have been there for the tackle. Or, hey, if you actually went up the field and not inside, it actually would have worked. So that's the part that I don't know, man. I don't know.
Well, one thing I do know is we have to take our last break. And when we come back, let's have some fun the last segment. Let's do something we've never done before. Let's have fun with Chris Beam.
We're going to get fired now.
We might. We're going to let Chris Beam throw a little question roulette at us. Stay tuned. Figure out. Nothing's off the table. It doesn't even have to be football. Let's go. Next segment, Hanging with the Boys. We'll be right back.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's that time again for Tailgating with the OtterBox Boys.
OtterBox, the company that builds wildly overprotective phone cases?
The one and only. But cases are just the start. OtterBox is the official outfitter of tailgating.
If they can keep my phone safe, what can they do for my parking lot party?
How about protecting your beverages from suboptimal drinking temperatures with their elevation tumblers? And OtterBox elevation tumblers come in 3 sizes: a 10-ouncer, a 20-ouncer, and even a 64-ounce growler.
Check out all the colors and sizes of their elevation tumblers at otterbox.com.
It's football season, and when you're tailgating with your friends and your family, you want the best meat on your grill. Pettigene Meats makes the best hot dogs, the Pettigene Griller, or the all-beef Franks will score. To complete that tailgate meal, Pettigene Meats has hickory smoked sausage, hot links, Polish sausage, and the best hickory smoked bacon and ham around. Available at your local retailer. And a proud sponsor of the Dallas Cowboys. It's Pettigene Meats. Taste the difference.
We can't wait to see the Cowboys back on the field, and we can't wait to pack AT&T Stadium to watch them play. When that time comes, SeatGeek is the place to get all of your tickets. Plus, tickets to the hundreds of games, concerts, rodeos, and other live events we'll all be able to enjoy again soon. Every SeatGeek purchase is protected by a buyer guarantee, which means you'll get your money back if your event is canceled. Guaranteed. SeatGeek. Let's go.
Hey, Cowboys fans, ready to spice up your next watch party? Bring Yo Quiero guacamole and be the game day hero. Yo Quiero means I want, and we know you want great, fresh-tasting, ready-to-serve guacamole for your home gating and tailgating events. Made with real avocados and the perfect blend of spices, it will be the star of any party. You can find us at your local Albertsons or Tom Thumb in the deli section. If you can't find it, talk to your store manager and tell them, Yo Quiero guacamole.
Is your family a Cowboys family? Have you taken holiday photos at the Star? Was your wedding theme blue and silver? Have you convinced your kids them is spelled with a D? If so, every game day feels like a vacation to you, so treat it like one. Whether you're traveling to the game or watching from your favorite vacation spot, book a place to stay on Hotels.com. Proud partner of the Dallas Cowboys.
Back to Hanging with the Boys.
Speaking of Hotels.com, hey Cowboys fans, what better way to spend Thanksgiving than a private suite at AT&T Stadium with your family to watch the game, the best game of the year. Head to DallasCowboys.com/hotels for a chance to win a private suite, a free night's hotel stay, and transportation to and from the game on a private Cowboys bus, all courtesy of Hotels.com. And believe me, you want to be on that bus. It is stocked with ice cold Miller Lite and several other delicious treats and beverages. You don't want to miss it. Go register today. DallasCowboys.com/hotels. All right, we've got about 5 minutes in the show left. Let's do something we never do.
Let me ask this question. Do we get a
yes.
Since Nate's not on the show today, do we split his $10? Like,
I think we get to buy lunch.
$3.33 a piece.
Yeah,
we can't eat off $10.
We can buy lunch.
That's right.
We get one value meal, cut it 4 ways.
There's a couple places you just have 99-cent burgers. You know what? Those each one get like at least one.
Yeah,
just some fries.
Well, you know what? Next time we all go to dinner together, we'll just leave that $10 as the extra tip. We'll just leave that on top.
There we go.
How's that?
Yeah.
There we go.
Nice.
We'll give back. All
right,
Chris Beam.
I like it.
You got 4 minutes. Have at it. Whatever you want to ask us, and we have to answer.
Okay,
take
Shannon,
it away,
my
Chris
first
Beam.
question is gonna be for you, Shannon. Okay, the first question is you started basically Dallas Cowboys Facebook and all that from scratch. Okay, correct?
Yes.
So does that keep you
Correct.
up at night? Sometimes, I mean, just by since it's what it progressed from back in the days to now, are you just shocked? Because I mean, you started it.
I don't really think about it a lot. When I first moved over from the merch side to head up or start our social media department, it was just Twitter and Facebook, and it was just a RSS feed. So it was just a straight news feed of copy. And now it's we were one of the first teams to ever have a full-time person running social media. And just I have the privilege about once a year to speak to, different classes like at SMU and things like that. And just every year to see the presentation that I give progress and develop and all the new technologies and the new platforms to go from where we were about 9 years ago. And 9 years really isn't that long of a time to go from 9 years of where social media started to where it is now. And then if you can project to what's going to happen in the future, it doesn't really keep me up at night, but it's amazing how fast technology has moved, because it seems like the previous 30 years, everything was, kind of in print and you had to read books and magazines, and then the internet came along, and then the social media was kind of like the reinvention of the internet. And since that happened, it's just things have moved so fast and so quickly that it's, I feel like the old guy in the room now whenever we start talking about all these strategies and everything, just because it's moving so fast. And there's TikTok and Snapchat and Instagram stories and all that stuff. So it doesn't keep me up at night, but it amazes me how far it's come in such a short period of time.
All right, so my next question is for Jesse. So I know what the best part of 4th and long was. It's probably getting on the team and making that check. What was the worst part of 4th and
long? Ooh.
This is a 2-part answer. The worst part was just being away from everything, because they took away our cell phones, our TV, radio, iPads, internet. Like, we had nothing. Nothing. Wow. And so we had to get scores of the NCAA tournament from the security guards when they would switch out. Like, hey man, can you give us a rundown of the scores today? So that was the worst part. You couldn't call your family, be around your friends, be around your loved ones, or any of that for 2 months. It was literally like jail. But the worst to me, the worst thing that we had to do while we were there was one night they took us to a field in South Dallas, and they had turned this field upside down. And then they had the rain trucks, and they had muddied this field up. And we shot this episode at about 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning. Now imagine we're shooting this episode at 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning. And the drill is it's a gauntlet drill. You got to hold 2 footballs and guys get a chance. It's 3 levels. It's 2 defenders, 1 defender. And you have to run through there without fumbling either one of these footballs. If you do, you get that's a point against you. And it's probably about 40 degrees outside. It's cold as hell. And you're soaking wet. You're covered in mud. And if you know about shooting episodes like this, it ain't a 10, 15-minute episode. You may see it in a 10 or 15-minute span, but it takes us 4 or 5, 6, 7, 8 hours to actually shoot 10 or 15 minutes what you see on actual TV. So we're out there for about 5 to 7 hours in this mud going over and over. And we're covered from mud from head to toe. We're soaking wet and it's like 40 degrees outside. We're shivering, we're frozen. But again, the eye in the sky don't lie, so you can't fake it because everyone's gonna see on TV that you were soft and you let the little bit of cold get to you. So that was the 2 worst parts about being, to me, on 4th and long.
How often?
I think I did once. I think I lost one.
Do you still get recognized from the show?
Yeah, every day.
Do you really?
Still tell me, "Oh, I love the show."
Wow.
And I'll never get tired of hearing that ever.
When's the movie?
Awesome.
There you go. Approach Jesse.
Sony bought the life rights to my story like 4 years ago, but they cut me a check like 4 years ago. They just never have done anything with it. I don't know.
Hey. If
Sony,
they do
what's up? Do something with it.
If they do something with it, you make sure that this show's a part of it.
That's right. Right.
I want my TV. I want my SAG card.
All right, I got one more question, but we're out of time.
All right, Beam. Last question.
Oh, we're out of time.
Kurt, what kind of dog do you have
Kurt.
that's always barking in the background?
It's one's kind of a terrier border collie mix, and one is a kind of a lab mix. So they're both pains in the butt. So
I got a question for Kurt. You're not getting off that easy. If you were not doing this job, what would you be doing?
What would I be doing? Oh man, I have no idea. I don't know.
Great answer.
Hopefully I'd be working.
Great answer.
Hopefully I'd be working in sports somewhere.
My question for Kurt was most random fan mail you ever got when you were working for the magazine. Most random fan mail.
Oh,
we got some scary ones. We'd have a few wackos write in, and we have some, with crazy trade proposals and that sort of thing. So, probably the ones that stand out are the ones that are kind of threatening and all that. So,
the magazine.
To security.
Magazine was really big in the prison system.
Yeah.
I'm serious.
It was.
I'm serious.
It was. We had a big prison subscription following there. Yeah.
Because they couldn't get TV, they couldn't get cell phones, they couldn't get internet, so it was a really big. When they got rid of the magazine as a weekly publication, there were some heartbroken inmates that were just destroyed because of that. So
that is true.
That is true.
That's funny.
Kurt, would you be, if you could be anything, would you be a rock star or a pro baseball player?
Oh wow, man, that's a good one. Probably a pro baseball player, but I've always dreamed about being that rock star too. So,
who's your favorite?
But I'm too old now. Well, I was always Van Halen. So.
Okay. All right.
Still trying to
bad memories.
I like this. We might need to do this segment every Friday.
I'll get better questions.
Maybe we do this every once a week, Chris.
I'll work on this. Yeah.
Work on that. Maybe we'll bring it back next week when Nate's on here. Okay. Well, Chris, thanks for contributing. Kurt, looking good in that blue, man. That's a good color on you. Jesse,
I appreciate it.
Keep cooking, son. Keep cooking. Keep kissing them guns. Keep growing them. Good looking poster behind you. Thank you, Wingstop. Thank you, SWBC Mortgage. We will be back tomorrow. Hopefully Nate is not technically challenged again tomorrow. We'll have a full crew. We'll bring it back to you live tomorrow. Same time, same place. Hanging with the boys.
This has been a production of DallasCowboys.com and the Dallas Cowboys Football Club.
How about this, Cowboys? Yeah!